Hey guys, Nicole here. Hey, I had a request from a couple people to kind of go through my photo process and how I organize them and pick them for layouts. And so I'm going to start from the beginning and kind of go through my entire process and talk through it. So I'm sorry if I'm a little shaky. I'm just holding my phone, and so it's not going to be as sturdy as normal. But the first thing I do is I take my photos off my phone and my camera, and I get them into Adobe Photoshop Elements. I have, I think, version 12. And I go through and I edit them in here. And then once I'm done with that, I save them onto my hard drive. And what I do is I create folders for each month. I have a folder called Photos to Print. And I just create a month. As you can see there's December 2015, November 2015. And I go and put them in the folder of the month of whichever I'm editing them and working with them. It's not always the month that the photo was taken. And then it's just an easy way for me to organize which ones I've printed and which ones I haven't. So when I go to Shutterfly, I label it exactly the same way, and I can say, okay, I've already printed November, so I'm going to upload the entire December folder, and then I print them. Every once in a while I'll print them at home, but I almost always send them away to print them. Okay, so then I have printed photos, and I'm going to next show you then how I organize those into my scrapbooking system. Okay, here you're looking at most, not all, but most of my photo organization. And I started off doing all my photos in photo boxes, and that didn't work for me. Then I went to doing them all in the 3-up albums, kind of following Stacy Julian's process, and that didn't really work for me. Well, it kind of did, but then a lot of them were falling apart, and so that wasn't completely working for me. So now I found a happy medium, and I'm going to go through that with you, just how I choose what photos go where. Okay, once I print my photos and have them in hand, they're going to go in one of two places. They're going to go in these albums up here, those white and gold ones or the teal and gold ones, or they're going to go in a photo box. And I'll explain to you kind of the difference and what, why I do both. So the albums tend to be more of my everyday pictures, and I need to label things. They are in order by date. I just redid the system, so I need to relabel everything. I print in 4x6, so I have 4x6 slotted slots in all these different mini albums, or not mini albums, photo albums. So for current photos, I print 4x6, so they're going to go in an album or a photo box. Now you'll see a lot of other stuff too. So like these boxes in the middle, those are enlarged photos, which I rarely ever print. So it's mostly older enlarged photos. It's this girl's school pictures, all those. And there's lots of other stuff in there too, because I have a lot of my parents' stuff, my husband's parents' stuff. So everything's kind of organized in those boxes. And also this zebra box here has a lot of enlarged photos in there as well. Okay, so the ones that I don't put in these albums go into photo boxes, and they are going to be things that I separate out, because if I know that I'm working within a particular kit, that I'm going to work with those photos on their own, if that makes sense. Quick example. Here I have my wedding pictures. So this whole cubicle is basically my wedding. So I have pictures, I have my album that I've started, I have our honeymoon photo album. So I know that if I want to work on my wedding album, I know I'm going to go here to this box. And it's versus having to find the 2000 album, flip through it, that kind of thing. It's just all there together, okay? So the other photo boxes that I have here are separated out by different, not really themes, but like, for instance, these here are my mom's side of the family, so the Dyer side. A lot of them are heritage photos, and I like to get photo boxes that match the feel of the photos. So you can see like these are very kind of vintage and heritage style photo boxes. So those are the Dyer family. And then I have down here the Gardner family, my dad's side. You see a lot of other photo albums and books. I'll explain that to you in a second. Here I have my college photos, my youth photos, and then I have an album that I have partially done that has some of my stories I'm telling using those types of photos. Here I have my mom's trips. Again, I know many of you know my mom passed away, and so I have all of her photos, and those are all the different trips that she had taken. Here I have the Mackin family, my husband's family. And one is focused on reunions, and one is focused on just our together moments when we're with his family. So I know that if I decide that, I have this kit that's very nature themed, and that will be perfect with the Mackin family reunion because we always go to a cabin in the mountains, then I know I can pull that kit, I can pull that box, I'm going to have plenty of photos to work with. Okay, so then the rest of these albums and books this is like my whole life story and pictures and ephemera, basically. So a lot of these are heritage albums. They are ancestry books. They are original photo albums that my mom had that I don't want to take apart. Like, look at that old fabric album. I remember looking through that as a child. Just different things like that we got from our families that have historical data in them and lots of fun information. So really this really is just my life right here of photos and memorabilia. So that's how, that's kind of a good idea of how I store my photos. Now, since most of these down here are kind of older photos, except for the Mackin family, a lot of those are new because we still get together with my husband's family a lot. But a lot of these are more, older photos or photos I got from family members. I also have more recent photos that I also put in photo boxes for different reasons. And I'm going to turn the camera here and hopefully I don't make you too sick. So just a reminder, these up here, everyday type of photos. Okay. Then I have photos organized by holiday or theme. So because again, I work with kits a lot, if I wanted to scrapbook 4th of July pictures and I wanted to make it easy for myself to find the pictures and the product, and so I keep it together. So I have done that in this piece here. So just to start on the left here, this is like my vacation section. So these are all vacation photos. They're organized on the inside by date and vacation. And then this is all my product albums in progress and product for vacations that are themed product specific to traveling. This is just multiple different themed type of papers. I don't have a lot of each of. So birthday, school, those kinds of things. The product that matches the papers there. And then some kits that follow in that same theme. And then the photos. So like this photo box here is like Easter and St. Patrick's Day, and then the gold and white is birthdays. So if I have, like the new Maggie Holmes, not the brand new Maggie Holmes line, but the couple lines ago, she did one that was very birthday themed. And if I want to play with that kit, I can grab my birthday box and then find my photos in there. Here I have 4th of July. So all my 4th of July and patriotic photos go in here. I go to a lot of political rallies and things, and so they all go in this box because I know that they're going to go with the 4th of July red, white, and blue type of color scheme. So if I'm working with a kit of 4th of July product, I grab the box, and I'm going to have multiple photos that are going to work perfect with that kit. Then I have Valentine's Day here, and same thing, Valentine's Day pictures in there. And then fall, I do want to get an extra box for Halloween and separate them out because Halloween product is very different from fall product. But right now I just have that there. And then Christmas. So if I'm playing with some Christmas lines, I can grab these photo boxes and again have a ton of photos to choose from. So that is how, between all these photo boxes here and these albums, how I organize my photos and that works really super well for me because, like I said, I used to maybe I said this or maybe I didn't. I don't remember. This is like my third take, but I used to do all photo boxes, and then I switched over to all photo albums, and now I have this happy medium of both, and it works perfect with how I scrapbook because I scrapbook in kits. I often will scrapbook outside of my home, and I can grab a photo box, I can grab a few kits, and then I have everything matches, and it's going to work together. But now, if you can look at the bottom here, like all these are just kits that aren't particular themes. So, and there's also some more there's also some more over here along with my 6x6 paper pads, all my 12x12 paper. So obviously I have a ton of product that doesn't fit within a holiday or vacation or, isn't part of a particular theme. And I guess the way I'll talk about it here, then I think I'm going to kind of show you and go through the process. But the way I kind of the way I approach it most of the time, honestly, is by product because I am such a big believer in kits. And I talked about this recently on the Scrap Gals podcast. I tend to be product based when I start my scrapbooking. It's just the way it works best for me. And I have such a wide variety of photos. I never have trouble matching photos to a product line. Now, every so often I do start with a photo and then find the product to match the photo, but that's not the majority of time. Just being completely honest with you, I almost always grab a kit to play with, and then I will grab, if it's themed, I'll grab a photo box to pick the photo from, or I'll just grab maybe my most recent, I'll maybe even grab it randomly, like grab a photo album, or my most recent photos. If I know that there's a photo I want to scrapbook in there, I'll grab my one of the teal albums there, and I'll just flip through it, and then I'll say, oh, this picture works perfect with this paper line, and I'm going to tell this story. And my mantra is kind of, maybe it's too simplistic, but I kind of feel like if I took the picture, then I obviously wanted to remember it, and there's obviously, to me, a story that I want to tell about it, because otherwise I wouldn't have taken the picture. And so I don't really prioritize a lot of stories above other stories. I just kind of scrapbook and tell whatever story works with the picture that works with the product. And I definitely get a lot of stories told, and I love that. So really quickly, I'm going to pause here, and I'm just going to kind of go through my process in working with the current kit I'm working with, and kind of go through how I would pick photos to go with that. Okay, hopefully this part won't be quite as shaky because I have it on my stand. Okay, so I'm going to play with this Wonder paper line from Crate Paper. I've already done one layout with it. I just posted it to Crafting Raven Getaway channel. And so I just usually take a look at the line and I look at the icons, the themes, the color schemes, the words and phrases. Like here has a bunch of different ones. It worked out perfect. The layout I scrapbooked for that was about, the story was about one of our cats and my daughter, and there was a lot of cat themed embellishments in here, which worked out perfect. I look at the paper. I look at the feel of the paper. I look at, this isn't super bright. It's more of a muted, paper pad in collection, and so, but it's very girly for the most part. Of course, you could do things to make it not that way, but it's pretty girly, and again, has lots of cats. So I would say, this may be a good place to scrapbook a bunch of pictures of my kittens or whatever. So I just kind of take a look at the product and the icons and themes that are in it, and there's more here. And then there's some more product in here as well. Like this has a tent. And I could tell a story. I actually got my girls a tent that they use inside, but it's like bright orange and white chevron, so it's really not going to match. But if maybe my girls, youngest made a fort recently. I didn't take a picture of it, but maybe I had pictures of my daughter building a fort in her room. This would have been a cute embellishment for that. So sometimes your product can really guide you, and it does for me a lot. I'll look through and say, oh, this would be perfect, or, or like the deer thing. We live in the country, so sometimes I'll have pictures of deer. I'll say, oh, I'll just go and this has a deer theme to it. I'll go and scrapbook that picture and tell that story. So just kind of an example of how I can use a product to generate the story. So then what I would do is grab one of my albums. I'm going to grab my most recent one. And I'm just going to look at my photos and try to find one then that matches the paper. So in here, I actually have a series of photos that I'm going to actually, I think, do a mini album at some point. So I know that those are going to be out. So I kind of skip past those. They're the story of me reopening our business. And so I want to keep all that together. But here I have some pictures of kittens, which will be perfect because there's a lot of kitten themed product. In here I could do one of those. Some more. Oops. These are already falling apart. I think I put too many pictures in each slot. So anyway, I have pictures of my girls drawing and coloring. The colors, they're not too bad. Like there is some navy blue in this, but that would be a contender. This has some really pretty like peaches and pinks and blues in the sky that could be pulled out well with this paper line. So I just kind of go through and just look at the photos and look at the, I can compare it next to the paper line, and if the photos match the feel of the paper line, and then I pick it and go. And there may be times that this album doesn't work. None of these pictures work for me. So I'll just go and I'll just randomly grab another album and flip through it and find a photo. Because I don't see myself pulling from any of the photo boxes for this because it doesn't really match a theme. But I could see, maybe finding a high school picture of me or a picture from my youth. It has a little bit of a vintage quality about it, so that would work too. And it's the colors would work perfect. So, I could grab one of the photo boxes of my youth photos or my college photos as well, and maybe look there if I'm inclined to tell one of those stories. But usually I just kind of flip through until I find one that works. And a lot of times I will start from a scrap lift. So I may be specifically looking for 2 photos or 1 photo or 3 photos, or a combination of 2 horizontal and a vertical, and then that will help guide me too. So anyway, I hope that wasn't really boring. I hope that answers, or that helps for those of you who asked me to do this video. I hope that kind of guides you in how I choose my photos, how I print my photos, how I organize my photos, and how I scrapbook with those photos. That was my intention, and I hope that I didn't leave anything out. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. But hopefully that gives you a good idea of my process. So thank you so much for watching, and happy scrubbing. Okay, one more thing that I forgot as far as photo organization is concerned. So if I know that I'm going to be making an album about one event, usually tends to be vacation themed. I'm also doing one now on like my college years. But I know that one album is going to cover an entire event. I will often, and I don't know if this may have been a bad one to grab because I have most of it done. So I will grab the album it's going to go in, and I will pre-put my photos for that trip into divided page protectors, because often my entire album is going to be a combination of both. And so that helps me then keep all those photos together. And then I can just flip through and say, okay, I'm going to scrapbook, these 3 here. And then the rest of them are just going to stay in a page protector. And then, so I may pull out like 2 of these, but then I'll put in 4x6 cards, put a layout over here, and then journal, and then have them all together. So I pre-put them into divided page protectors, and that way I have a nice vacation album that I can go ahead and look at, even if it's not completed yet. Like I said, this one is mostly completed, but it just makes it so easy. And so that's another way I store my photos, is if I know that it's going to be an album in itself, I just go ahead and I organize them that way. Like here's some that I haven't done yet. And that way, if I'm maybe working through a class or I'm working with a kit, I can, I'll also have these photos I can go to as well. And then by the time it's all said and done, I'll have a nice mix of layouts and divided page protectors. And it's a great way to use Project Life cards because I have 5 million of them. And then another way just to display my vacation pictures, even if my scrapbooking part of it isn't done yet. I can still have them in a nice album and work on them. So I've done this with Disney, lots of vacations. Just a great way, another great way to organize your photos if you know that they're going to go into one album together when it's all said and done. All right, thanks guys. Bye-bye.